Welcome back, everybody, to another Crybaby Kohberger episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. That's right, Crybaby Kohberger's writing more complaints once again. This time he's threatening staff to do something kind of major. And if I were to guess for the moment, it's definitely going to change his pace in prison. When it comes down to where he's being housed at, this recent move he did could spark a transfer to a new cell block or possibly a new prison. So let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is absolutely where you need to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my beautifully assorted playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today.
Time now for another edition of Things Bryan Kohberger Doesn't Like About Prison. It's a long list, so get comfy. And
I'm comfy.
I cannot get enough of the petty gripes that this bloodthirsty killer has ever since his ass was handed to him, and especially since he narrowly avoided a firing squad.
The title of this article is Bryan Kohberger Threatens to Harm Himself in Prison. His last complaint was about the bananas. I guess it really pushed him overboard. He's ready to take flight on himself. Man, that's sad, over some bruised bananas. Or maybe not bruised enough. You know, I heard the more bruised, the sweeter they are. Who knows with these psychopaths and their meal choices.
The last, infamous inmate who complained about his food, or at least had a food issue, and it was Dahmer. Dahmer was actually arranging his food on his plate into what looked like body parts and then squirting them with ketchup as if to look like blood, and it didn't go over well with his fellow inmates.
And we all know how old Dahmer went out in prison. If you don't, go ahead and Google it. If I were to guess, old Kohberger later on down the road is going to get a similar kind of fate. But the article continues saying Bryan Kohberger is reportedly considering extreme measures to get out of his prison block. According to a source, Kohberger has threatened to harm himself should prison guards not move him out of the J block inside of Idaho Maximum Security Institution. So I believe this guy's been in prison for like 5 months. He's been complaining about his cell size, the cell block, the inmates, the bananas. I mean, the list goes on. This guy must not realize he's in prison. He thinks it's going to be a cozy laid down session for the rest of his life. He's extremely mentally ill if he thinks that's the case. Continuing with the article, it says Chris McDonough, a retired homicide detective and cold case foundation director, said that Kohberger's demand is due to his relationship with fellow inmates in the block.
My source tells me he entered that prison with this idea of, I'm Bryan Kohberger, I just killed 4 people, so therefore I'm one of you. And that's not how it's playing out at all.
And I completely agree with this individual. Like I said in many past episodes, okay, the 23 and 1 block, any of those inmates find out who's in there, someone like Kohberger, they're going to verbally assault and torment this individual day in and day out. They probably got inmates working shifts, not even playing. I mean, these inmates are enjoying this, right? They have nothing else to do in there. For some of those guys, it's probably the best killing of time they've had in decades. And look, I'm saying this stuff not because I read about it, but because I lived it. I was under 23 and 1, had to get shackled to the dog kennels, shackled and taken to a plexiglass shower where a guard's sitting there watching you soap up. Not to mention getting strip searched every time you leave that cell. Also, you heard what they said, they get an hour out daily, which in many places is, like I said, a dog kennel. You go outside with the fresh air and the sunlight with another set of cells that's built strictly out of fencing, hence the name dog kennel. And a lot of inmates when I was in there didn't even take their hour out, including myself, because the guys that would be in the kennel right next to you were known for throwing bodily fluids at other inmates' COs. It didn't matter, that's just what they did. They're maniacs as well. So if you were to ask me, Kohberger probably ain't even leaving his cell for the hour out. But I've lived that life, man, and I'm here to tell you, it's hell on earth. Lockdown 23 and 1 is not a place you ever want to go to. So yeah, many people, when they're getting tormented through the vents all times of the day, are going to want to get the hell out of there or take themselves out. Happens all the time, I'm here to tell you. I've heard other channels say that this dude's going to be okay. He was going to be like the mastermind of the cell block. Everybody's going to be running up to him. Makes me wonder if you ever done a day in prison. The article continues saying that the prisoners are still relentlessly harassing him to the point now where he has written staff messages saying that if they don't move him out of J block, he's going to harm himself, McDonough said. The question is he using the threat about harming himself as leverage to get out of J block? Or does he really feel he's going to harm himself? He's not saying I'm going to kill myself. It's I'm going to harm myself. And believe it or not, in prison, those words, they're going to put you in a paper suit and move you in a dry cell and watch you for 2 weeks, make sure you don't do nothing. till you're mentally sound again, right? And just judging by how old Kohberger likes to have, or seems to try to have, control in every situation, he's picking and choosing his words wisely. But moving right along, it says J-block inmates occupy single-person cells and get 1 hour of outdoor recreation daily. They're moved in restraints and are only allowed to shower every other day. Kohberger was sent to the maximum security prison after pleading guilty to fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho students on November 13, 2022 at an off-campus rental property. And like I said, in September, later on, after everything's said and done, killing 4 helpless individuals, in September, Kohberger complained that he didn't receive allocated food. He's also complaining about his cell, his bananas. I mean, this is just unreal. That a guy that killed 4 individuals is even in prison complaining about anything. He shouldn't even be allowed to get a damn request form. You got an issue that ain't related to an emergency, you write on a request form. And by law, I believe they have to reply to you, especially with a grievance. Grievance is more along the lines of an emergency type of situation. And they're supposed to reply to you very quickly. Sergeant or something like that. And like I said, in my eyes, this guy shouldn't be allowed to get any of them. And they definitely need to bring a law into place somehow, some way for individuals with these kind of heinous crimes that they're not allowed to get any kind of damn commissary when it comes down to like honey buns, stuff like that. Yeah, you can get hygiene. Not no Dove. We got to give them some cheap stuff. But definitely not allowed to get no honey buns, tuna packs, stuff like that. Inmates in prison are pretty much rewarded with these amenities if you don't get in trouble. Some inmates, though, shouldn't have them to begin with. And I know some people are like, man, that's violating people's rights. And I don't care. He should be sitting on death row, man, with nothing. Let me know in the comment section how you feel about all this. I mean, every episode that I do on this guy, the comment section is pretty much eye to eye with me, especially with the commissary thing. It makes me sick to my stomach because I know how good you can eat in there if you got the money. Yeah, it might be junk food and stuff like that, but when you're in prison, that stuff is delicacies. Getting that stuff every month, man, it's like Christmas. So individuals like this, they should never get that opportunity. Strictly freaking warden burgers with all the water from that tap sink he can drink. I can't stand even looking at old Bryan. And I can almost guarantee one of these days, I'll be covering a story of him getting got in prison. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, a little update on Crybaby Kohberger. Do you think he's going to actually harm himself if he doesn't get moved out the cell block? And chances are, if you're to ask me, he's probably already moved out of there. Prisons that are ran correctly, whether he used the word kill or harm, it doesn't matter. They don't take that stuff lightly, man. So chances are they probably did move him into a little special cell out the block just to make sure he doesn't do nothing crazy like that to himself. I can almost guarantee the next updated article is going to be about him being moved, possibly transferred to a new prison. But stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, I got plenty more content coming your way. And January's right around the corner, you know what that means. I don't know if you remember the cul-de-sac sicko, the female neighbor that was accused of sleeping with the underage twins. I don't know if you remember that story, but that female I went to high school with, and her court case is right around the corner. I'm thinking about going over there to witness it myself, in person. I can't imagine what's going to happen to her, man. That's a diabolical story, but I'll be bringing the update your way as soon as everything goes through. In the meantime, though, as always, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.